Joining me now to discuss the race for Nigeria's 2023 election is Dr. Chris Ekiyor, who's the President Emeritus, Ijaw Youth Council and Convener Integration Summit Group Nigeria. Good to see you, Chris. Labour Party now has Peter Obi as its presidential candidate. Now, how will this shape the race for the coming elections in Nigeria?
Well, thank you, Suleiman. It's been a pleasure having me here. And you and I are watching the situation in the Nigerian political scenario. Peter Obi is the man who has just left the PDP and is now the flag bearer for the Labour Party. It's a good thing. And I think a lot of people feel that that's the third alternative, considering the fact that you have the APC and the PDP as two major parties. So those who don't want to root for those parties probably will find it a so-called the Labour Party. That's how I see it. However, I do not think that we're getting the political program for our country right as to how candidates emerge for election. Rather than going forward, we had gone backward. In 1999 and late 2003, the way and manner in which candidates emerged, starting from the point where a delegate emerged in the election, was more altruistic than what we have now. Everything I see now is basically about arranging, let's arrange it in a way to look like there's a democracy, and then people just emerge after the arrangement has been done. And that doesn't allow for best practice in democracy, democratic systems. I think we do better than what we're doing now. However, there's the maxim that says that the worst democracy is better than the best military rule. So we have to keep managing what we have until we get out of this merry-go-round about delegates and candidates and emergence of flag bearers at any level in a political party.
Let me jump in here, Dr. Ekiyor. You are President Emeritus Ijaw Youth, and of course an advocate for the development in southern Nigeria. There's been this call by politicians across the country to ensure that governance in the next dispensation in Nigeria moves to southern Nigeria. With what you've seen in the PDP and perhaps the likelihood of what the APC may come up with in its primaries, would you say that Nigeria is looking to fix in the gap in its leadership process when it comes to southern Nigeria?
Now, for those who understand history, if you remember how Abiola emerged and King Ibe was running mate, no Nigerian was looking at whether they were both Muslim, or they were from north or south or west or east. The crave for regional representation is because people always feel marginalized by the government in power at any point in time. So they want an inclusion. And having had a president for 8 years from north, it's seemingly just like an auto process where you expect the next president to be from the south. Now, but that's not the provision of the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear. Any Nigerian can contest. Those are internal party arrangement. And the Labour Party has chosen the South-East candidate. It gives it an advantage if the South-East people want to work for getting into power. The PDP has chosen a North-East candidate. It gives it an advantage for the North. So we'll look forward and see what the APC will do. And that may just torpedo the equilibrium as to what will happen in the next couple of days before when the primaries are over. However, so many is for convenience to satisfy the yearnings of people who feel excluded, because if you keep saying the majority should go, which is the rule of democracy, maybe a particular section will gang up and will be skewed in favor of that section, considering what advantages they have arising from local government creations and capacity to produce delegates, and of course, gigawatt fictitious numbers in population. Until we get the population census right, we get the what you call demography right, we may not be able to have a free and fair election where Nigerians can freely choose based on merit. So this delegate system that try to balance, and this zoning is one of the ways I think they've used to try to satisfy the end of every section of Nigerians.
Let's quickly look at the dynamics of recent happenings. Do you think Peter Obi, who is now in the Labour Party, is the dark horse or the third force Nigerians have always talked about?
Yeah, now that's the point. if you need to run against the two major parties, you need to start your planning 4 years yesterday. That means that from 2019, Labour Party should have started planning and programming. And this third force should have put itself together and make sure that the candidate is serious and strong. What they have done now, the party, what it has done now is to bring a face that is known to Nigerians. But the point is, the people at grassroots are already party members. And the way the elections are done in Nigeria, 80% of the election is we go party ways. So what is the muscle that the Labour Party have in the ward, in the unit, and in the local government areas? That will be what will translate to what Peter Obi will eventually get in the general election, particularly when he is known to be principled to not to do the money politics. And he's going to run into in an election where money will decide a lot of things. But even the electorate, you can see clearly what's been happening in the delegate issues. It's not easy. It's the way that things work in Nigeria. We hope that we can get better, and we need to find a way to do it. So I'm worried, yes, it's going to be a third alternative, but whether he'll get there, I do not know.
Well, as Nigeria tries to get this right, quickly, before I let you go, let's talk about the electoral umpire. INEC. How excited are you in terms of preparations towards this election?
Great. I think that the fact that INEC has been able to put its foot on the ground to insist on timelines is something that Nigerians would love. Party politics would have delayed these primaries and push us until we'll be running foul of certain things. Now, these timelines are very clear, and I think it's exciting Nigerians because it defines when you must do for A, B, C, and D. And the underdogs suddenly became the top dogs because these delegates were people that, in majority of the parties, they just unpick them as a compensation for a window period, hoping that they will just be part of the bigger pack, what you call the statutory delegates. With these electoral acts in place, which for some people have muddled up the whole system because they've been excluded, it reduces the selection process to a few number of people that were supposed to be underdogs. Now they're the top dogs. So eventually, what we're going to see eventually is the emergence of people who would have influence to influence things. And that will also determine who the candidates will be in the elections and will therefore also determine how Nigerians are likely going to vote. But I'm very sure that after the APC primary, those who are swing will begin to take a firm decision on as what they need to do. For fair balancing, definitely, the South needs to now produce a president.
Dr. Chris Ekiyor, many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Suleiman. It's a pleasure.